The Wailing Willow, in the heart of a desolate moor, where the mist hung heavy and the wind whispered mournful laments, there stood a tree that struck terror into the hearts of all who gazed upon it, the Wailing Willow. Its gnarled branches reached out like skeletal fingers, casting long, foreboding shadows upon the ashen ground. Legend spoke of a curse, a sorrowful tale that bound the tree to a tragic past. The moor itself was a place of eerie solitude, its marshy ground, swallowing the echoes of any intruder foolish enough to venture into its embrace. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, and a spectral mist clung to the landscape like a shroud. The Wailing Willow stood as the moor's twisted sentinel, its presence casting a pall over the desolation. It was said that the Wailing Willow had once been a vibrant tree, its leaves dancing in the breeze and its roots anchored deep in the earth. But a tragedy had befallen the nearby village, a calamity so profound that the very land itself seemed to mourn. The villagers, desperate to escape the specter of their grief, had turned to the arcane arts, binding their sorrow to the once proud tree. As the years passed, the Wailing Willow's leaves turned a sickly shade of gray, and its branches contorted into grotesque shapes. The wind, instead of a gentle caress, now whispered through its twisted limbs like the mournful cries of lost souls. The tree's very essence seemed to resonate with a palpable sorrow, as if it carried the weight of 1,000 hearts. One fateful autumn evening, a wanderer named Evelyn stumbled upon the desolate moor. The legends of the Wailing Willow had drawn her, a haunting melody that called out to her restless soul. As she approached the tree, its presence seemed to wash over her, a tide of sorrow that threatened to pull her under. With trembling hands, Evelyn reached out to touch the tree's gnarled bark. The surface was cold and rough, like the weathered skin of an ancient being. As her fingers made contact, she could feel a strange energy coursing through her, a connection forged in the crucible of shared sorrow. As night fell, the moor seemed to come alive, its spectral inhabitants emerging from the shadows. Evelyn could hear their whispers, faint echoes of the village's long-forgotten lament. She closed her eyes, allowing the voices to wash over her, each one a fragment of the tragic tale. With a sense of purpose, Evelyn delved deeper into the moor's mysteries, determined to uncover the truth that bound the Wailing Willow to its sorrowful fate. Through old manuscripts and faded letters, she pieced together the tragic story of the village and the desperate act that had forever changed the tree. In the heart of the moor, Evelyn discovered an ancient altar, its stones weathered by time and etched with cryptic symbols. It was here that the villagers had performed their arcane ritual, binding their grief to the Wailing Willow in a desperate bid for solace. As Evelyn stood before the altar, she could feel the weight of their sorrow, a burden she was now determined to release. As dawn broke, its first rays piercing the mist-shrouded moor, Evelyn stood before the Wailing Willow once more. With a solemn resolve, she began to chant, her words a balm for the tree's tormented soul. The air seemed to shimmer with a spectral light, and Evelyn could feel the release of centuries-old sorrow. As the last echoes of her chant faded, a profound stillness settled over the moor. The mist began to lift, revealing a landscape transformed. The Wailing Willow stood tall and proud, its leaves a vibrant green, and a sense of peace seemed to settle over the land. Evelyn's footsteps echoed through the moor one final time, a testament to her courage and compassion. The legend of the Wailing Willow had come full circle, from sorrow and despair to a renewed sense of life and hope. The moor would forever bear the mark of its haunted past, but it would also carry the promise of a brighter future, thanks to the wanderer who dared to listen to its cries.